Hi everyone, welcome to the Animal Reader. Today we're talking to Heidi Kagiowa from the animal welfare organization Animal Kingdom Foundation. They've been active since 2002 in the Philippines, and they've been helping dogs and cats, stray animals, and animals in a shelter since the floodings in recent weeks. But yesterday they saved 11, what we'll talk about first, they saved 11 dogs at a shelter in a village. And welcome, Heidi. Could you tell us in what condition you found these animals?
Oh, we were informed of the existence of these animals in a small village in a municipality, and then we went to check and validate, and yeah, we saw them in a very despicable situation. Three already died on the spot inside cages, and the others were really in poor health and
Mm-hmm.
condition because we believe that they have not been really fed well for the past days, and it's possible that they were not even given water because we didn't see any signs of water in any of the bowls, or some cages don't even have bowls available for the dogs.
And I even saw in one of the pictures the dog was like half trying to go out of the cage. He got stuck like that because he was trying to get out.
Exactly. It was trying to get out, and possibly out of um the stress.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, actually, the dog died.
And is this something you, because this was actually a shelter, a place where the dogs were supposed to be taken care of, right?
Yes, but it's a village impounding area, because in the Philippines, some villages are allowed to impound stray dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and they would even accept abandoned or surrendered dogs from residents. And the law allows that, and the village chief and the village officers should be responsible in taking care of these dogs before they are supposed to be turned over to the municipal pound or the city pound.
Okay, and so that's where it goes wrong. So when they're in that pound, so they're supposed to continue to a bigger pound, or that's the idea.
Yes, they're supposed to be moved to a bigger pound. Unfortunately, I think in this particular case, they were just kept there. And when we spoke and had dialogue with the village chief, he claims that he didn't know that the situation of these dogs were already very bad. He wasn't aware that there were dogs in that facility,
Mm.
and he blamed the caretaker in failing to give sufficient care and attention to these dogs.
And is this something that happens a lot in these villages, or was this for you also a unique situation?
Not really unique situation, because in the Philippines, there's a lot of situations where the owners are not responsible enough.
Mm-hmm.
And since the government is really intensifying their anti-rabies program, which includes stray population control, they would impound dogs that they would see in the streets. So, in fact, most villages are have these kinds of facilities. So, us animal welfare groups in the Philippines are really very vigilant in ensuring that at least this village pounds would care and give sufficient food and proper shelter to these dogs.
And is it so the proper shelter? Do you think it's because the people don't really care, or it's because they don't know how to do this?
It's a combination of both factors. Most people don't really care about these animals, and they would just consider them just dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And some also doesn't know really how to take care of these animals, and then they think that if we just feed them or just let them be, that's enough for them. So it's really a combination of both factors.
Practice. And what will happen? So you came there. There were 11 dogs. Three of them had have died. What will happen to those eight? What will happen to those dogs that you rescued?
The dogs were actually turned over now to the municipal impounding area,
Mm-hmm.
and that impounding area, the municipal one, practices no kill. shelter. So that's also the reason why we are present in that area, because we're trying to help this impounding to improve their practices. And since also this municipal pound was affected by the recent typhoon, and was actually, got flooded, actually, almost rooftop.
Yeah, that's the because that's the picture that I think went viral. This is the one you're talking about, right?
Yes, yes, that's the photograph.
And this, what can you happen? Like this was the day. This was when the floodings were really high, and I heard that the people that are working there tried to save all the dogs and brought them to the roof.
That's exactly what happened. The caretakers were there, went to the impounding area that night because they were worried about some cats
Hmm.
that were not put in a higher area. But when they reached the impounding center, they noticed that the water started to rise, so they started bringing all those dogs up to the roof. And actually the caretakers were also rescued themselves the next morning.
Oh, and what happened? So the flooding is down now, right? Like it's now
Yes.
again the water is gone. So, but then this is the shelter you work with. But what do the dogs stay there, or they eventually get adopted, or?
These dogs, I mean, this impounding center actually practices no kill,
Hmm.
so the dogs just stay there for the rest of their lives, or maybe at least when somebody wants to adopt, then they can adopt from this pound.
And do they stay then in cages, or they also get to walk outside a little bit?
Well, this impounding area is actually very small, also considering the number of the dogs. They can roam around, but it's not enough for them to really have sufficient exercise. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of improvement that needs to be done, actually. And we didn't realize until this incident happened that there's a lot of problems in this pound.
Okay, so that's what you'll focus on for the coming time, also to how to improve this pound.
Exactly, exactly. We were already in touch with the head of the caretakers. We
Hmm.
have also scheduled a meeting with the municipal mayor to discuss the future of the pound, because we want to make sure that they would continue their commitment to make sure that this pound will practice no kill, because eventually because otherwise, if we improve the pound, and then they would bring in animals and they would just kill them after 3 days. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
not. Yeah.
it's not right.
And also the if they maybe can get adopted, that would be also something good if people would want them. But I don't know how popular that is in the Philippines to adopt a dog.
Well, like our organization, Animal Kingdom Foundation, we also have our own rescue center. We do a lot of rescue, and we also do a lot of adoption
Okay.
of the dogs. That we wanted to share our experience to this municipal pound and help them also promote their dogs for adoption. But
Oh yeah.
right now, our focus is to rebuild and rehabilitate the dogs to a better health, because most of them are really emaciated. They have I mean, severe skin conditions.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we would like to improve their health, make them, beautiful dogs again, back to back to health.
Yeah.
And eventually they would be easier to adopt if they're in that kind of situation or condition.
And could you say something about the aftermath of the flooding? So the typhoon hit Vanco hit like 2 weeks ago. Like you already explained this, I think, but well, the Philippines, they didn't expect so much floodings afterwards. You're used to typhoons, but you didn't expect all the water. So how does this affect like stray animals? Could you give somehow, like, you rescued a lot of stray animals in that time?
Yes. We usually experience a lot of rains, typhoons, and floodings. But this past few weeks, we have, I think, one typhoon after another. And
Hmm.
the recent before Typhoon Franco, or Ulysses, as it was called here in the Philippines, hit our country. um Supposedly that typhoon is was supposed to be stronger, but we did not experience that kind of rain that we experienced with this typhoon Franco. So we had more rains than wind. And I think maybe because the previous rains or typhoons already, flooded the riverbanks.
Mm-hmm.
So since the pounds also, that particular pound is near the river, it got flooded easily.
Yeah. So, but this is a pound, but there's a there. I assume that the Philippines has a lot of stray animals also, just living on the street. How did you do they get rescued by your organization, other organizations, or for them this must be like all the water? It must be.
Yes, exactly. There are a lot of other organizations that similar to us that would
Mhm.
rescue dogs off from the streets. Our organization also focuses on spay and neuter and stray feeding, especially during the pandemic,
Yeah,
the COVID-19, especially when we were on strict lockdown. We believe that there, since the dogs and the cats would not have enough sources of food in the streets, we started feeding them. And then, of course, during typhoon, we appealed to through our social media, to pet owners to be responsible and make sure that, you know they should not leave their pets behind. But
yeah,
unfortunately, there are still cases that, people left the dogs behind, and, still in cages, or possibly with their leashes on, and the dogs would not have any opportunity to save themselves.
yeah. That is something like that. I think your organization does that too. To yeah, like you just said, to educate people on how to actually see their pet as their family member and take them with them and where they can to help stray animals.
Yes, exactly. That's what we're trying to do. And we actually also lobbied for the national government to include animals in our disaster plan program, because as we are trying to browse into our laws, the animals are not part of our evacuation program, and most municipalities, cities, and provinces would not allow animals in our evacuation sites.
And that's a good thing that you're doing it to try to get that to make them part of it. Do you think that's going to be? What are the chances of that happening? That animals will be part of that evacuation program?
There's this big possibility that it's going to happen because the recent eruption of the Taal volcano, if you've heard about it,
Mm-hmm.
that happened, I think, this year in January.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of animals, horses, farm animals, dogs, and cats that really perished at that time.
Yeah.
And no animals were brought to any evacuation centers, and they were left within the vicinity of the danger zones. So I think that, and then of course the economic impact of losing these farm animals to the farmers, and of course the lack of source of livelihood for tourism and all, um, is a realization that animals are important, and hence they should also be saved and considered during any evacuation or emergency program.
That's I hope that they'll do that. And thank you very much for your time and thank you very much for everything you do for animals there.
Thank you so much, Priya. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye and thank you everyone for watching.